Hey everybody, welcome back to Your Free TV. So glad to be back with you here on a Monday, April 13th, 2026. I'll jump in with my disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is protected by the United States Constitution protecting free speech, as well as the Sullivan Act and reporting. It is not intended to bully or harass anyone, never to incite violence, hatred, or lawlessness of any kind. It doesn't give legal, medical, or financial advice, and there are further disclaimers in the description below. So I'm so glad to be back with you here today. Thank you everybody for supporting the channel. You are so appreciated. You make it happen, and I'm so, so grateful. We have, I thought I'd get back here on a Monday where, we're kind of in an in-between time of what's going on, but we have the naval blockade now happening here with the Strait of Hormuz. Very, very important. And we're going to jump in here. On Friday, we have Trump coming out and saying the world's most powerful reset. And that is so paramount and so important, especially with the Strait of Hormuz. And then after the Bilderberg meeting ends, what do we get? We get the blockade, the naval blockade now happening. We know that a lot of stuff went down over there at Bilderberg over the weekend. But what we have now is the USA basically forming a naval blockade on the Strait of Hormuz to basically stop any oil and gas leaving Iran. Okay, this is the carrying out of the already existing sanctions to actually enforce it. And this is what is so important for people to understand, that this has already been happening, these sanctions and all of it, but allowing it to go on with the CCP getting all of this oil and gas out of Iran. And this is what is now going to be the new reset that Trump is saying, the world's most powerful reset. And Trump's mandate is, of course, to break the international rules-based order, to do with the City of London still controlling the United States. And this is where we're going to get to, and I'm going to put on the glasses and we're going to jump into it. But there's so much crazy besides, the fight of what is this massive division in the so-called MAGA whatever, but this basically people losing their minds. We'll get into that too. But let's get into kind of what's going on here with the naval blockade, and then we'll go on from there. So we have Trump coming out and saying that Iran is extorting the world in the Strait of Hormuz with, of course, their tariffs they're putting on, their fees for anybody to go through the Strait of Hormuz. But what is happening now is we have the U.S. coming in with the blockade. This is always going to happen. People need to understand that Secretary Besant had already put in place, before even Epic Fury started, where he was starting to go after the banks using the Patriot Act, about laundering money through terrorist organizations to harm the United States. So he has been doing this already for over a month, plus. As this has been happening, we're seeing already that all of this attack on the banks that have been laundering the money to do with the sanctioned oil, the sanctioned gas coming out of Iran has already been happening. And so I'm going to touch in on that. So we're going to get into it in a minute, but we need to look at it like, what's the plan? The plan is that Trump is resetting, as he said, the greatest reset ever. The reset is to have the USA be dominant in oil and gas, as the exporter of oil and gas to the world, and strangleholding the CCP, their use of the proxy of Iran, to be able to get all of that, even though it's totally sanctioned and they shouldn't be allowed to be doing it anyway. So why are they allowed to be doing it anyway? That's the whole thing. Why is this still going on? And why, when the USA gave all of our treasure, all of our money to create the CCP to be able to be strong as it is now, the total destruction of our manufacturing, our entire country, basically, to export in an offshore manufacturing to the CCP, that was done by the globalists, starting in the 90s with Bill Clinton, and then, Dianne Feinstein, all of them. creating in the Clintons, Hillary Clinton, all of them creating the massive export of what was our manufacturing. And now Trump is claiming it back through the tariffs and through what is um, this now stopping Iran being this focal point of they provide the terrorism, they provide the ways to create mayhem so that the City of London can collect on their Lloyd's of London insurance to be able to keep raising the prices for insuring vessels to go on maritime trade through the Strait of Hormuz to collect tons of money and then launder it through Switzerland, through UAE, through Dubai, all of that coming to a massive close here as we're seeing that they are now being able to shut down massive banks to do with all of this. So let's get into the flow of the money. We get out of Dubai this now enforcing of the embargo that Trump is doing, where he is now putting a naval blockade that all of every vessel leaving Iran will now have to uh, uh, basically be stopped. It's not going to happen. And what's going on with the money is that we have the Section 311, which is uh, uh, the Patriot Act that Scott Bessent, the Secretary of the Treasury, has been employing now since even before the Epic Fury started, where he has basically been going after things like Enbear Merchant Bank in Zurich. Okay, great things always out of Promethean Actions and Promethean Action Update. But basically, what we're seeing here is Enbear Merchant Bank out of Zurich, $100 billion laundered to the IRGC out of Switzerland. Okay, that being already now liquidated. The liquidation of that bank is now in process because of what Scott Bessent did preempting this. And that's why when people are hair on fire talking about Trump is doing crazy town on this war in Iran, they don't understand that this is a massive global war. We're fighting for energy dominance to stop the globalist takeover of the United States of America. And Trump is playing this step by step, actually overthrowing the entire chessboard or whatever you want to call it, to basically come and say, no, 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 we are going to do this now that USA has the cheapest oil, has the cheapest gas, but we have to go through these pains. Okay, we have to take down what the City of London that continues to dominate the USA after all these years, after the revolution, to continue to keep us as their cash cow, as their military cash cow, as we have seen that Keir Starmer and everything out of what came from the Admiral Sir Knighton out of the Navy there in Britain, saying we have no war plan, we have no naval ships, we can't do anything, we can't come to the Strait of Hormuz. We're basically a NATO flag, okay, that is just literally a bureaucracy, and that the USA has always been the might, the military, and without them, we have nothing. And that being fully admitted, while they've been completely stealing everything from the USA, as Trump is now saying, no, naval blockade. Iran's not going to get any of their ships out. They're not going to export oil. They're not going to export gas. It is done and finished. And what we're going to do instead is we're saying, hey, get it from the USA, and we're stopping the City of London, the royals, the globalists, crunch and destruction of the USA, while all the building up of the CCP in China, which all of this also absolutely goes against. It's to say, no, China, you can't just keep doing this money laundering, this sanctioned oil and gas for your benefit. We're stopping it. We're stopping that as well, because of these fines of what Iran was doing with CCP, with the situation of just paying you on and it's cool, we're good to go. This is a rearrangement, and I believe whatever happened in Bilderberg over the weekend has reinforced Trump's decision to do this naval blockade. That there has been decisions made behind the scenes that there is going to be the U.S. supported in this. It won't be easy. It won't be at all easy. We've got, of course, King Charles coming here to the United States in a couple, I don't know, 10 days. Yeah, I believe maybe 2 weeks, where he's coming for 4 days to meet with President Trump and do this whole, I believe, will be a reconciliation, a reckoning of the UK, the British Empire, with the United States of America, and Trump's dominance here of saying, no, 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 you've dominated maritime, um, uh, uh, you know, uh, passage, insurance, making sure that you always have a terrorist organization out of Iran to be able to challenge your insurance, of the vessels going through maritime. This has been going on for hundreds of years, where England gets to say, "Oh no, no, we have such a threat there at the Strait of Hormuz that we have to charge you tons of insurance money," and then they basically fund all the terrorism so that there is a massive need for huge amounts of insurance money out of the Lloyd's of London. This is all being broken and taken down. Okay, the naval blockade is fantastic, and we're so happy that it's happening. This is the larger picture that I still don't understand on this channel why other huge pundits and out there are not understanding that when you're going to war against a global cartel Babylon, against a global energy uh, 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 regime, okay, that the number one way they control us has been through energy since forever, and maritime trade is the hub of it, is the central part of it, that of course that is going to be the number one thing that we have to go after in order to stop it, in order to revamp it. And Trump saying this is the most incredible reset ever, and then also coming out and saying Iran is extorting the world in the Strait of Hormuz is basically saying the city of London is extorting the world through the Strait of Hormuz. The globalists are extorting the world through the Strait of Hormuz. We're trying to get sovereign nations in charge of the control of the strait, but also America dominance here to also get out of OPEC's control, out of the petrodollar control, that the dollar will mean something different, and it will be America first dollar. It has to do with American energy dominance, and that's what we're going for. So as we look at this and we see people like, Keir Starmer and this Sir Knighton of the Maritime um, Admiral of the Maritime Navy there saying we have no war plan, we have no war plan, we have no nothing. We have 30 years of just total nothingness here in Britain. We don't have a navy, we don't have an army, we have nothing. We're just basically people who have relied on the USA through our intelligence operations and our use of Iran and other proxies to guarantee that that the USA will always bail us out in some military conflict. And so Trump is turning that on its head. It is completely reversed, and it is completely turned upside down. And so everybody's freaking out in the globalist world. And that's why the emergency Bilderberg meeting last weekend, where, of course, all the heads of all of the same, the same players, Microsoft, Palantir, um, uh, Google, Meta, all of them coming in there to try to get their gains, because, of course, for them, it's all about AI and AI control and their dominance with that. But you know, we need to understand that what's going on here is that behind the scenes, Scott Bessent, the secretary of the Treasury has come out and said that he is going after, using Section 311 of the Patriot Act, going after multiple banks, not just Ember Merchant Bank in Zurich, but also in the UK. We're getting crypto exchanges. Well, in Zurich, it was like like $100 billion of IRGC money, right? But also in Dubai, the UAE, IRGC money by the hundreds of billions. We're getting out of London uh, massive amounts of money there, crypto exchanges in the billions, also a Santander Bank in UK, also huge amounts of money. We're looking at how they're going after the money laundering, and it always is like, it's Iran, 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 and IRGC. No, this is about globalist money laundering, okay, that has to do with the control of energy across the world that they are trying to do to control the USA, and Trump is throwing it baby bathwater, like on its head, like absolutely 100% upside down, to say no, 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 nope, nope, it's gone, it's gone, and we're going to keep taking you down until it's gone. And now we're doing a naval embargo to make sure that Iran cannot send out oil and gas to China or anywhere else. And you're going to have to come through us if you want to get your oil and gas out through Iran, like France or any of these other countries that have tried to do this over the last many weeks. You're going to have to talk to us first, because this is not going to happen. The sanctions must be respected. We're going after the money. We're going after the banks. We're liquidating them. Scott Bessent is liquidating them. And this all comes out of Section 311 of the Patriot Act. And so this is like, 30 years of massive, massive wrong think and wrong action by the UK to have no military buildup. They have no navy. They have nothing. It was just a NATO flag with the USA's military behind it, and paying nothing, doing nothing, just sucking us dry here in this country over and over and over, multiple, multiple, multiple times. And so as we look at all this and we wonder, like, how did this happen? What's going on? I think we need to remember that um, this is Trump's judo move on the globalists, that he has been setting this up through the tariffs, through the resistance, through the just weighting them down, bearing them down. And I'm not going to get into how hard it is for us. We know how hard it is for us. It was never going to be easy, okay, dealing with all of this. It hasn't been easy for a decade um, and longer. We don't live in the world we used to, where it's easy and where things are cheap and everything's good. No, no, no. This is a war that's going on, and we're fighting it. And you kind of have to decide: am I in? What's going on? Can I understand that taking back America 250 2.0, American Revolution 2.0, to get out of the City of London control, the globalist control, the control of energy. Control of energy is everything. And if we can get out of it, if we can escape that, not escape, it's literally like a war. We're battling our way out of it via Trump. And now this naval blockade is the next step in what has been epic fury. It was always going to come. Okay. And everybody's, what makes me crazy is that people think that Trump saying this or that or whatever thing is somehow some, him being haphazard, etc. We live in an informational glut, and Trump is always going to try to mislead in that informational glut. It has to happen, because we're dealing with smoke and mirrors. We are dealing with wizardry. We're dealing with a crazy amount of propagandist machines, and Trump has to keep throwing that upside down all the time. to try to defeat what's known and what's not known. And so it's going to keep happening, and we're going to see things like what came out after Bilderberg. We see Australia, the UK, Europe saying they won't condone and support the military support for the US naval blockade in Iran. And we know Ursula von der Leyen was at Bilderberg. Okay, so again, relying on the USA for what we're doing with this naval blockade. However, this is going to have huge and massive repercussions. I believe decisions were made, that agreements were made, that the USA is going to take the hit here when it comes to the CCP and it comes to China. That China is feeling the full force of Trump's going against their use of Iran, their use of Venezuela, their use of Cuba, their use of trying to take over South America, all of it. That this is part of all of it in this reconfiguration. We're going to have King Charles coming here again in 10 days or so, and there's going to be a new negotiation that will happen when it comes to the UK and Europe. So it is all very, very interesting. We're going to keep watching it. It is important to understand because there's not one way to fix this, but taking down Iran as the massive proxy tool of what is what began as the use of a inflammatory Islamic republic created through the Muslim Brotherhood, created through the City of London, all of it to create this country that would be the thing to constantly be sort of the terrorist edge, right? To constantly be the thing why the Lloyd's of London can constantly be raising their insurance prices for merchant ships going through the straits, constantly generating so much money, keeping everything unstable, and OPEC being so dominant. Trump is throwing that all upside down and saying, no, 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 we can have all these Middle East countries, we have a board of peace, we can have everybody, and we can include Iran in that, where we can have a board of peace where we're all at peace, and we don't agree with this, house on fire baloney that you're putting out there, City of London and Lloyd's of London and banksters, elites. No, no, no. We can actually say, no, no, no. We are having an economic bilateral agreements between the nations that can bring peace, and that we don't have to keep doing this. But we have to do this right now with the naval blockade to get there. It is a step-by-step process, and that's where we're at. That's what's going on, and all the hair and fire stuff about it is really it's really just to break the support of Trump. It's sad and awful to watch what's going on in the supposed MAGA base or whatever, but the mainstream alternative news is what I call it. But where you're seeing people like AJ go full bore, just full bore crazy. Um, um, just he's been under massive pressure and stress for so many years, but but on that network and his channels, it's been massive non-support for Trump for quite a long time and quite a while. Whether it's Harrison Smith, who does one of the shows there or whatever, this constant inability to actually analyze economic globalist policy and the US's need to take over energy dominance and to take over Iran as this proxy state of the globalist energy dominance. And so you're seeing this kind of meltdown going on. And it's really disturbing to watch. But I did watch something that came out today to do with AJ on Sean Johnson's show. And Sean Johnson is very, whatever, but very connected CIA, former Navy SEAL, constantly called out for being CIA connected. And AJ just kind of like doing like a seppuku, falling on his sword there on that channel, just talking about all kind of crazy town. Trump is demented. Trump is he's almost to like Biden style demented. Um, just really, really losing it, getting kind of cuckoo town. And this is where we pray for people. This is where we pray for people to come back to their senses, to come back to looking at big picture analytics instead of getting caught up in identity politics, in any kind of personal politics, allegiances to personal people, getting back to the news and what really is the analysis. But we're kind of seeing AJ being set up massively by Sean Johnson today. It was really, really, really awful to watch, where we saw him just going on a full-on rant that was so out there, so crazy. Basically, just saying Trump is crazy, and Trump is demented, and Trump is now a mean old man and doesn't know his ass from his elbow. We kind of need AJ to get his together and just like get back to reality, because we know that he's been attacked so hard, but this is like getting really, really bad for the 100 million people or so that watch AJ, where he's not doing the news anymore. He's not doing large, he doesn't understand, I guess, I don't know, large economic uh, analysis of what the plan here is to defeat Cartel Babylon, defeat the City of London, defeat what the plan is here for America to actually survive. They have to do energy first globally versus the City of London versus Cartel Babylon versus Iran as the central hub of what is the trafficking, money laundering, terrorism situation. And Israel, yeah, awful, 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 awful. But you got to remove Iran's power, basically the City of London's power, through the use of Iran, and hopefully then the Iranian people getting some relief from this IRGC control, this Cartel Babylon control, in order for the USA to be dominant in energy and get back to where we should be, because we are the number one producer, the number one people capable of it, the number one country capable and having the resources to be the number one producer. But it's been shut down, shut down, shut down for decades by the globalists. And meanwhile, we've been paying for everything. And the deep state has been sucking dry all of us with all of the USAID, the CIA wars, all of this baloney going on to create more mayhem in the Middle East and to create more money for all of the government corporations that are involved in the military industrial complex to just go and make tons of money off of that, rather than helping the USA to be what it should be, which is an energy dominant country, and of course leading the world in what is the next technological breakthroughs, including nuclear fusion, including space exploration, all of it. This is what we're meant to be, and Trump is trying to get there, but he has to take down these people first. So I hope that means something to you. I didn't get into the super crazy of what went down with the Sean Johnson show with AJ, but I'll link it below. You can watch it for yourself. Totally unhinged, and I believe it's it is warrants prayers, lots of prayers. Because in this country, there's so much great things going down. We're seeing the takedown of Eric Swalwell and his evil and disgusting demonic ways. We're seeing huge wins in Texas with the Board of Education there, where the Patriots were able to bring in and defeat CARE, which is a national theist organization, from trying to bring in the blessings of Islam into our social studies textbooks. Defeated 100%. There's going to be great new textbooks coming out that celebrate the history of America, American civics, the founding fathers, manifest destiny, all of it through Christian roots. Fantastic wins going on there in Texas. So all of those things overlooked while all this infighting is going on, which is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. While Trump is 100%, and I would say with Melania by his side, not trying to throw him under the bus, um, operations to layer step by step the takedown of the massive Israeli influence, the takedown um, of of the city of London and what is going on with the control of Iran as a proxy terrorist state. And the number one thing that always is in control is energy. Energy. It's our energy, our personal energy. It's why they wanted to get the shots in us, the sensors in us, why they wanted to be able to connect us to the uh, internet body of things. Um, that is about sucking energy out of the people, but also stealing energy out of this country. They wanted to shut down this country and make it all about supposed renewables and baloney that all comes out of China. Anything to shut down this country and this people because we are the number one freedom lovers, freedom understanding Christian civilization on the planet. And to be able to shut it down is the way they would defeat the world and to have one world government, Cartel Babylon. That's always been their objective, and Trump is throwing it upside down, saying, "No, no, no. We have the number one." Um, let's just get his exact words. We have the number one greatest reset ever. And that's what he's talking about, world's most powerful reset. And so let's understand that we're dealing with that level of a reorientation of the global chessboard or whatever you want to call it. This is about Trump going for massive, massive reset against Cartel Babylon and the bank street elites of the world to put number one being America first with our energy, our production, and our manufacturing being reshored, and that we are going to not be beholden to the City of London any longer. This is AMREV 250, 2.0. That's where we're at, and people need to get their minds right and stop. I don't know. Is it identity politics? Why is it that people keep reverting back to emotions versus being in the fight for obviously what is this war we're trying to complete that we're in right now? It's going to take quite a while. It's not going to be super fast and easy. It's going to take quite a bit of time. So could you, I don't know, maybe put your feelings aside and get back to reality? Because this was never going to be easy. This was going to be very, very hard. And the reason we fought so hard to get Trump back in and after the stolen election and all of it was so that we could become a dominant country again versus a globalist technocracy takeover of the world, and to be able to fight back, which means we have to dominate in all those spheres that that those same things occupy. It's going to be a step-by-step process. It's going to be a long, hard slog. This is not simple, it's not instant soup, and it's certainly not going to be fast. And we all have to understand that we're kind of in it for the long haul. This is going to take a while, and we're just praying that the right people, that God is with us and will bring in the right people to keep carrying this on, because without it we'll be lost. I mean, America will be lost. But we have such great things happening, and this naval blockade in Iran is fantastic. It is the way to carry out the sanctions, take the money out of the banks in Dubai, Switzerland, etc., London, shut down those who are trying to steal from us and kill this nation. So stick with it. Stick with it. Have faith. Get in your prayer war room and understand that there is so much more at stake. It is this country, but also the world. This is about freedom for people across the world, sovereign nations. This is what the fight is about, and it's going on and on and on and on. It has massive repercussions and reverberations. So stick with it. You know, we're seeing in Ireland tomorrow. They might have a vote of no confidence on the government there. Finally, oh, after all these years, and Ireland just dogged down by the EU and the takeover by massive Muslims. Go to an Irish town and it's all Muslims. I mean, it's nuts. It's crazy. And the huge amounts of tariffs on, um, uh, excise tax and everything on their petrol there. Just the massive fights going on in the streets there in Dublin. Support them 100%. The Irish take back their country. It's not going to be easy peasy. It's going to take quite a while. And so let's just understand we're at war. This is a massive fight for civilization. To have Christian values that have to do with Republican governments, sovereign governments that can actually fight a cartel Babylon globalist bankster elite that wants to destroy us, destroy humanity, and take over as a technocracy. It's a step-by-step process. This naval blockade on Iran is fantastic. It's a great next move. So I fully support it here on the channel. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back with you tomorrow. We have a great show coming up also soon to talk about my sponsor, c60evo.com/YAFTV. Code YAFTV for 10% off. The miracle molecule that gets into your mitochondria, cleans it all out so that you can have cellular health and healing and fighting all the degenerative diseases, plus giving you massive energy and focus. A great product, but we're going to learn about how it helps with Lyme's disease and all the tick-borne stuff. We're seeing this alpha-gal thing going on hugely, all the stuff that makes you allergic to beef, crazy stuff with the tick-borne bioweapons, but we're going to be talking about that soon. But check it out below. 10% off YFTV is the code, but all the people who have ever contributed to the channel get 15% off and different link and code sent to you. So thanks so much for watching. If you found something valuable in this video and you want to support the channel, please do so. Under major duress, there's a lot going on here besides all of this on attacks on this channel. So appreciate if you could support. And of course, like, subscribe. So important to beat the shadow banning. It keeps going on and on. So thanks so much for watching. You are free, and I will see you tomorrow. Keep the faith.